Okay, so today I'm going to make a black forest gateau, but I'm going to use a whisked fatless sponge. So the fatless sponge, there's no margarine in it, it's just flour, baking powder, cocoa powder, eggs and sugar. Now I've weighed the flour and I've taken out 2 teaspoons of flour and replaced it with 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder, just to make this mixture nice and chocolatey. And I've added in 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So all I'm going to do now is sift this flour mixture onto the paper, and you'll see why later on we put it onto the paper. So that's whisked there and all nice and mixed up. So that's our chocolate flour mixture, and we'll put that to one side. So here in the mixing bowl I've cracked 6 eggs, and to go with the 6 eggs I've got 6 ounces of caster sugar. So that's all that's in there, 6 eggs and 6 ounces of caster sugar. Now the idea of the whisk sponge is that the eggs and the sugar are just whisked up until they're light and fluffy. So that's what we're going to do now. Now as you can see, it has doubled in volume. That is just the eggs and the sugar that have been whisked up and doubled in size. So at this point we have to move really quickly, because you don't want the air to go out of the sponge. So this is why we add it on the paper. Put it on like so. Now make sure your hands are clean, and we want to mix that together and try not to knock all the air out of it. Just let it go through your fingers. Put that little bit back in, don't want to lose that. May seem a little bit messy, but this is the best way of doing it really. All you're doing is folding the flour in. Get it all in there, and that should be fine without knocking too much of the air out. So once again, very quickly, you want to get that into the tin. There you go, that's in the tin. Give it a smooth out. Again, it's not like normal sponge. If you mess about with it too much, it will just go flat. So there you go. As I say, make sure you give your hands a good clean before you do this. After all, you will be eating it. and that goes into the oven at 180 degrees. So this sponge has been in the oven for 15 minutes so far at 180 degrees, and I think you can see, we'll just open and give a little peek in. That's how much that has risen. So don't keep it open too long, and that is doing nicely. I'd say about 20 minutes and that's going to be done. So as you can see, the sponge is out, and this size tin took 25 minutes at 180, and you can just test the sponge just by going like that, and as you can see, it's just springing back. If you do test it when it's in the oven, just push it very gently, because again you don't want to collapse it. So there we go, that's the sponge cooked.